I threw out on Twitter, what Gator Nation, what were your biggest questions coming out of spring football in the spring transfer portal period? Of course, a lot of ways to go with this one. And I certainly expected it. Expected it for sure. But a lot about Napier the coach. Napier the offensive coordinator. Billy Napier the play caller. More than the roster. I expected it. You guys delivered on that expectation. I know that is perhaps was the biggest question out there. I wasn't surprised at it by all. You know, most of us feel Napier's done a good job of putting the roster together. Recruiting isn't as good as it, could have been, but good enough pair with experience and roster retention that Florida's in a place to compete for a possible college football playoff appearance, possibly be in Atlanta competing for an SEC championship game. You see all these polls that are out there that are coming out of spring. Florida's hovering around that top 10 mark. So we at Gator Nation have put that expectation on the program in Napier's fourth season. Okay, it's time to at least ride this talent to big things. And it has to be, where you're putting it together for a run. But to put it together, it's going to be more than the players. That's where all these questions are coming from. It's got to be more than the players. To rise to the occasion of putting this roster together and taking advantage of this roster. To be a better head coach, be a better offensive coordinator, be a better game manager. That's the question a lot of you guys have. Billy Napier has chosen to remain the primary play caller while changing around him the staff on offense. And look, I know many already have their mind made up on Billy Napier the play caller, and they don't need to see anymore. And that it isn't good enough. And look, it hasn't been so far. But to me, far, far from terrible. There's a lot of, it's a 0 or a 100. No, there's some in between there. The offense has not been terrible. It can be better. It certainly could be better. Is Billy Napier the guy to unlock that? It is still a question. For some of you, it's not. I know it's not. But there's the question that a lot of questions that came in. Can the offense take another step? Can Billy Napier be the guy to take the offense to the next step? I don't think we've seen as good as it can be given the quarterback situation. A wildly inconsistent Anthony Richardson. Oh, I know a lot of people will throw in your face. I know a lot of people will throw, top 5 NFL pick. Well, we see when I'm not trying to down Anthony Richardson and try to prop up Billy Napier on this, but the issues we saw with Anthony Richardson in college are the same issues we're seeing with Anthony Richardson in the NFL. So now, also going along, you had a limited and injured Graham Mertz. We know the deep ball issues he had his whole entire career at Florida. The injuries that happened to Graham Mertz in his 2 seasons at Florida. And then, continuing at last year, a true freshman and an injured DJ Lagway. I'm not trying to deflect what's happened so far, but what I will say is this season should really give us all of the answers. On Napier, the offensive coordinator. On Billy Napier, the play caller. Like I said, some of you already have your answer, and that's fine. I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but a lot of people are still asking the question about Napier, the offensive coordinator, about Napier, the play caller. This year really should give us the answers. Injuries can happen again for sure. We all can admit that. But we need our full answer this season if Napier can get it done in that regard. He's done a good job of not letting the offense fall off a cliff while not having an ideal quarterback or the ideal situation at quarterback. And I think we've seen it at its heights with a healthy DJ Lagway. Can we get that at a more consistent level? That's what we're all waiting to see. The offense hasn't fallen off a cliff because there's a mostly reliable run game. But it is time to open it up a little bit more. It is time to evolve the offense a little bit more. I don't want to abandon the run game. I still think there's a strong place for it in college football. But I think the aspect for me is be able to do what is needed to win the game. If you need to throw the ball 40 times one game and win it, you need to be able to do it. If you need to run the ball 50 times to win a game, you need to be able to do it. That's what I'm looking for in this offense. The ability to adapt, the ability to win a game in many circumstances. The pieces are in place. He has his quarterback, an offensive line that returns a lot, a deep running back stable, skill at wide receiver. There's no excuses if we don't see improvement. There's no excuse not to see it. And if we don't see an offense good enough, what does that mean? What does that mean? I think we get our answer pretty there. I think the pieces are in place. If it's not there, then we have our answer on Billy Napier, the play caller, to me. This is year 4 now. I wish we already had the answer. And some of you, like I said, think we do. But it is time. There are no more excuses for having one of the country's best offenses with what is assembled on this roster. Gator Josh asked, quote, how many points per game do you think we can expect next season if Lagway plays the entire season? I could see a jump up to 35, says Gator Josh. Florida had 28.3 last season, and that ranked 64th in the country. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. Now, I went over the issues. No need to go over those again. 35th in points per game, or 35 points per game, would rank about 15th in the country. That's national title level offense. Now, we got to see with the other side of the ball, of course. But 35 points per game gets you about 15th in the country, if you want to go by last season. And you want to look at the teams around that mark? Ohio State, Tennessee, Tulane, Oregon, Clemson. Now, see, it doesn't tell the whole story now, does it? Tennessee's offense? Okay, rack up points against Little Sisters of the Poor. And then you go into SEC play and you don't score touchdowns an entire first half for a string of games. So it doesn't tell us the whole story, the 35 points per game, because Ohio State's offense and Tennessee's offense, they weren't even close. Oregon's offense against Tennessee's offense, not close. Clemson's offense, hey man, they were playing pretty good at one time. Let me reply to this text right quick. But yeah. There you go. But so yeah. So in order for that to happen, to get that 35 points per game, you need to see good starts. Good starts to games. Good middle 8 results. Either right before 4 minutes before halftime, 4 minutes after halftime. An offense that doesn't penalize itself. More consistent first down production. Better third down results. Now, sometimes those go hand in hand. With the deep shots Napier likes to call on first downs, there's some give and take there. As far as that aspect goes, the downfield shots we all love, they come at a risk. If they're not being hit, they're going to come at a risk. And what do we usually see a lot in that situation? Get around midfield, play action, deep shot is hit for a big play, or it goes incomplete. The predictable second down run that goes for 2 yards, and you're staring third and 8 in the face. But I like those deep shots now. They have their place. And with Lagway, man, you're going to want those deep shots early, and you want to go take them often. So, there's going to be some give and take there. I don't want to be so boom or bust offensively, though, for sure. Like, I think unlocking something on a failed first down deep shot needs to be there. As Scott Miller at Swoop Scott M mentioned also on X. And I think this is a good point up to this point. He, Napier, has never proven he can be a difference maker. So far, you can't disagree with that. But it doesn't mean he can't be. Has it doesn't mean can't. But boy, we should really get our answer this season. And I'm not trying to deflate. I'm not trying to defend. But there's a lot to like about this offense. And the pieces are in place. This is fully Napier's team, fully Napier's offense. And all the changes you've made to surround yourself, and you make the decision to call plays. It's time to see it. And another side to this, kind of going to where I was just hitting, and I go back and forth on, well, it's only happening, if the offense takes off, it only happens because of Lagway, not because of Billy Napier. Okay, well, probably some truth to that, but you can say that for many coaches and many offensive coordinators. Now, I won't even compare Napier to the great play callers out there. Not what I'm going to do. But perhaps Lagway will be just the first in line of quarterbacks for Billy Napier, where he gets this type of production. I don't think he's just massive quarterback guru. Nobody's going to mistake Billy Napier for that, but I think him and the staff are good in that area. I mean, they made Graham Mertz a much better quarterback than he was at Wisconsin. A more consistent quarterback than he was at Wisconsin. And some credit to DJ Lagway as well, but DJ Lagway was ready to do some things as a freshman last season. What needs to happen with DJ Lagway being Billy Napier's quarterback is it starts the trend of him getting good quarterbacks in and it being a great combination with him and the staff. I do believe a bad play caller can ruin it. And maybe that's what we'll see. And there are some players that can do it in spite of the coach. Maybe Lagway is that guy, and we're off winning titles, and we don't see till down the road that Billy Napier relied on DJ Lagway a whole lot. But I don't think we're in this situation where Lagway carries the team in spite of Napier and goes on to win a title or anything like that. I don't think that much good comes out of that situation. You know, if this offense is near the top of the rankings, or, you know, we're smart enough to see that they can control the game in many different ways, in many different environments, as I was discussing before, I think Napier would deserve some of the credit. A lot of the credit for that. And not just throwing it all, well, hey, there's DJ Lagway. That's it. And another unknown to all this, hard to answer the question when you look at it from this angle, is just how much impact does Russ Callaway have? You know, I have mentioned all the reasons the offense can be improved, should be improved. But is this another reason? Also, if it's improved, you know, then there maybe is the argument of him being more involved, and it's more directly tied to success from him, more so than Napier. Will we really even know? I mean, they're pretty secretive about how it all works as far as the roles in the offense. And there'll be many wanting to give Callaway credit. I think it's a question we have to ask that we really may never get a full open answer to. But there's the changes that have happened around Billy Napier, elevating Russ Callaway. Maybe it's just a move like that that allows Billy Napier to be around the offense more. You know, on the defensive side, hiring Ron Roberts, let him control that side. You trust him, you can concentrate on the offense a little bit more.